Hi, friends. Yesterday, we read the passage from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, verses 35 through 41, about Jesus calming the stormy sea. Today, let's get in the boat with Jesus and the disciples. Remember that it's evening, and as the boat crosses the Sea of Galilee, a storm suddenly arises. Even today, it's common for the winds to come down off of the hills of Galilee and to create a terrifying experience on the water. The gospel writer Mark says that there was such a blast of wind and waves that it not only beat against the boat, but also into the boat, so that the boat was beginning to fill with water. Throughout the Bible, the sea is associated with chaos and danger. One example is in Daniel's apocalyptic vision. He writes, "I, Daniel, saw in my vision by night the four winds of heaven stirring up the great sea, and four great beasts came out of the sea, different from one another." The psalmist prays, "Do not let the flood sweep over me, or the deep swallow me up." The sea is a dangerous and scary place. Now, I mentioned yesterday that one of the distinctives of Mark's telling of this story is that he says there were other boats. And that's likely a literary device to help to focus our attention from the other boats to the one boat that was carrying Jesus. And as Jesus' boat crossed the tempestuous sea, the gospel writer narrows our focus even more to the stern of that boat where Jesus is sleeping. In the Bible, sleep is a posture of trust in God. You find examples of that in Job and in the Psalms. For example, Psalm 4:8 says, "I will both lie down and sleep in peace." In other words, I will trust. For you alone, O Lord, make me to lie down in safety. So to say that Jesus is sleeping in the midst of the storm is to say that Jesus is trusting God in the midst of chaos and danger. And this is a foreshadowing of trust in the midst of danger that Jesus will demonstrate throughout his ministry, and especially during his arrest and trial and crucifixion. In contrast to Jesus' trust, the disciples come to him in terror. They woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" The disciples' plea is reminiscent of the Psalms of lament, like Psalm 44:23. "Rouse yourself. Why do you sleep, O Lord? Awake, do not cast us off forever." So Jesus woke up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." These specific commands are another distinctive feature of Mark's telling of the story. In Matthew and Luke, it just says that Jesus rebuked the wind and the sea. So the first command, peace, means be quiet. And it's the same word used to describe the silence of the leaders of the synagogue who criticized Jesus for healing on the Sabbath. It's the same word used to describe the silence of the disciples when Jesus confronted them about arguing over who was the greatest. It's the same word that is used to describe the silence that Jesus himself exhibited when he was on trial before the high priest. The second command, be still, we would probably translate as shut up. And it's the same word that Jesus used to rebuke unclean spirits. So after the wind stopped and the sea was calm, Jesus says to the disciples, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" And that's where we'll pick up the story tomorrow. Until then, enjoy this beautiful sunny day. And thanks for listening.